Jay-Z and his high-profile lawyers feel like they can get away with anything. Well, the judge just completely laid down the law and put them in their place. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and I have an update for you regarding Jay-Z and his lawsuit with the Jane Doe. And my goodness, the lawyer just slammed him. I mean, the lawyer seems furious. You got to understand, this lawyer, Alex Spiro, is insanely expensive and has been putting a full court press out to cause doubt. And honestly, I think they did a pretty damn good job at doing so. It even made me wonder what's going on. It made me have questions for Tony. And honestly, all things can still be true that both these lawyers are lying and suck. But at the end of the day, they were trying to just have this case thrown out immediately because it didn't happen. And here's all the evidence, yada, yada, from this NBC News interview, which clearly Alex, I assume, had something to do with in outing this Jane Doe. But all of it, the judge wasn't having it. The judge was furious. We have the full order here. Let's go through it. On top of, not only was the judge very upset and giving a very stern warning to Jay-Z's very expensive, high-profile lawyers, Alex Spiro, they also agreed that, yes, Jane Doe can remain anonymous for now. Now, that could change. They did make a point in saying this could change, but let's go through this filing just so you can understand all that happened. All right, so going through as we get to the sort of, they basically start with the anonymity, talking about the motion to proceed anonymously. Here were all the sort of the non-exhaustive list of factors to be considered. As you can see here, 1 through, what is this, 10 of them. Here he says 1, 2, 4, and 7 weigh strongly in favor of anonymity. What are those? So let's go through. Whether the litigation involves matters that are highly sensitive and of personal nature, whether identification poses a risk of retaliatory physical or mental harm to the party seeking to proceed anonymously, or even more critically, to innocent non-parties. Then we have 4 and 7. These are the ones he particularly, whether the plaintiff is particularly vulnerable to the possible harms of disclosure, particularly in light of ages. And then number 7 here, whether the plaintiff's identity has thus far been kept confidential. Those are the ones that he said, yes, clearly those are all valid and should remain the same. But several factors weigh against the anonymity, and it goes in and sort of explain the fact that they've now sort of given media attention surrounding the case. The public has a substantial interest in this litigation, separate apart from its general interest in the accused, being able to publicly confront an accuser, etc. Nevertheless, at this exceedingly early stage in the case, the factors counseling against disclosure outweigh those of that counsel in favor of saying who the name is. So for now, they're saying, yes, we're going to keep it anonymous. Now, accordingly, plaintiff's motion to proceed anonymously is granted, but it's advised that because the balance of these factors will certainly shift in the case proceeds, especially if and when the parties engage in discovery in earnest, the court intends to revisit its decision in a future date. So saying at a certain point later, that could change, but for now, it's still moving forward, and yes, you can remain anonymously. Now, this is where things get more interesting, and I want to read it for you. Since Carter's attorneys first appeared, in this case 17 days ago, he has submitted a litany of letters and motions attempting to impugn the character of plaintiff's lawyer, Tony Busby, many of them expounding on the purported urgency of this case. Self-promoting, accused him of extortion, request to be heard on an expedited basis, accusing plaintiff's counsel of exploiting the legal process to generate media attention, asserting that plaintiff's counsel seeks only to benefit himself, requesting the shortening of a deadline from 21 days to 1 day, describing plaintiff's counsel as willing to blatantly violate the core ethical obligations of all attorneys, and requesting a hearing on a motion the following day. This is now, again, remember, this is the judge writing. Carter's lawyer's relentless filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and ad hominem attacks is inappropriate. It's a waste of judicial resources and a tactic unlikely to benefit his client. Ouch. The court will not fast track the judicial process merely because counsel demands it. I mean, thank you. Thank you. Alex's attempts out there are aggressive, and I think from the press release standpoint and the facts and all those things, it asks questions. But my gosh, the self-importance, right, of this Jay-Z and his team, they're above the law, is insane. The entitlement is off the charts. Let's continue. Moreover, although Carter's attorney assails plaintiff's lawyer as having a chronic inability to follow the rules, Carter's counsel has failed to abide by this court's clear rules. Under the court's individual practice of civil courts, with limited exception, a pre-motion letter is required prior to the filing of any motion. Although Carter's attorney stated that he intended to file immediately a motion to strike the first amended complaint, He did not give plaintiff the requisite 5 business days to respond. Wait for the court to set a motion schedule or state whether any exceptions to the court's individual practices applied. This is unacceptable. Counsel is hereby advised that any further motions filed in violation of the court's individual practices may be denied on that ground alone. So now he's basically saying, you've now run out of excuses. Enough. Done. Stop with these crazy PR motions, etc., that you're putting out there, because I'm not even going to like read it. It's going to, if you don't follow the actual rules and stop saying Busby's not following the rules. Turns out Spyro is not following the rules. And if he continues to do so, whatever that motion is will just be rejected because he's not following the rules, regardless of what the motion is. That's a huge warning from the judge to shape up or else. Lastly, although Carter's attorney is entitled to file a Rule 11 motion without first seeking leave of court, the court discourages this approach. If he still intends to serve plaintiff with a motion for sanctions, the court denies his request to shorten the safe harbor provision contained within Rule 11 from 21 days to 1. Carter's motion to strike the amended complaint is denied. By January 10th, plaintiff shall file her response to Carter's motion for an order directing the preservation of evidence. By January 17th, Carter shall file his reply. Court clerk is respectfully directed to terminate the motions, blah, 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 blah. So ordered. So all of it thrown out. Everything Alex Spyro said it was going to happen. It's going to get thrown out. Where it didn't happen. I think I still have, do I have he was here. It was, I lost my button. Where's my button? Here it is. That's because this never happened. Well, he keeps saying this over and over and over.
That's because this never happened.
Well, that may be true. Everyone's innocent till proven guilty. And some of the examples definitely are now being put into question. But you can't just repeat this.
That's because this never happened.
And expect the whole thing to get thrown out, because now it's not getting thrown out. Now it looks like we are going to be going to court unless they settle. But this has gotten so heated. I don't know who's going to settle or who would want to at this point, because the lines have been drawn. Busby is attacking Spyro like crazy. Now, Busby has some explaining to do with this client, but Spyro is attacked back so hard. This could go either way. I could see them actually wanting to see this through, but I could see both sides realizing, crap, we're in over head on this. We've gotten too aggressive. Let's just all cut our losses. I'll be fascinated to see how this all goes. Either way, I will say, more and more has come to my light as we've gone through all this. I don't just believe Alex Spyro that.
That's because this never happened.
The fact of the matter is, there was one part that really shocked me, and I said it to you guys when it happened, and I've since heard other opinions and thoughts, which is the father didn't endorse the daughter's story, and I found that shocking. At the same time, the more I thought on it, like, why would any dad just be so quick to throw their autistic, has a brain issue apparently, daughter under the bus like that? It really does make me wonder what's happening here. How did Spyro's contact Chloe in the new NBC News? It seems like there's some connection there. This Chloe character in NBC keeps getting all these random connections to help Amber, to help Amber Heard's comment came out, which then helped Blake Lively, and now is helping Jay-Z. I don't know what's going on here. There's a lot to keep track of and really pay close attention to. And it makes me wonder, could people have actually been paid off? Could Alex have been, literally the amount of money it would cost to spend to pay for Spyro to do that full slideshow that he did, along with everything else that he's doing, that is not cheap. Not cheap at all. Now, Jay-Z can afford it. He can pay for it, but he's spending a ton of money, which is telling. It's telling that he's willing to spend anything to mislead, Jedi mind trick everybody and say it did not happen. That's
because this never happened.
Is that true, though? Could it have happened? Could there be more? And it turns out just because she got the date wrong doesn't mean that it's thrown out. In cases like this, especially ones that are that long and at that age, there's like a 4-year window where you're allowed to sort of be off on your dates. So all of this is still fair game. So Spyro's out there playing a strong game, I'm not going to lie, but Jay-Z might have been a waste of money because none of it actually worked. You're still going to court. This is not going away. You can keep pretending like you and Beyonce have nothing to hide and all is good, but Disney, I would not invite them to any more red carpets until this is properly sorted. Otherwise, you're massive hypocrites. And yeah, I'm keeping close attention to this case still. And if you haven't been following the Blake Lively case, you better, because that's going to change all of the game. When everyone keeps saying, could this Jay-Z thing affect others? Blake Lively is currently doing it right now. And I'm not saying that the harassment claims against her didn't happen. I'm not claiming that. I want to learn more about from Justin's side, but don't miss my last video as well. A lot of stuff is unfolding, and this is all connected with Hollywood PR machines, legal teams. It's important that we expose the underbelly of Hollywood and all these power players, because I do believe some shenanigans are happening. And if you want to keep in tune to all of it, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for all alerts. When you get those video alerts, smash the like, leave a comment, help the engagement of the video, and stay tuned. We got a lot more coming here on Popcorn Planet. I'm out next week, but I've pre-banked some amazing content. I hope you'll check it out, and Kim will be here as well. Stay tuned. Don't miss it.